Listen to me when I say this. Do not have kids.
I do not want children. I have never wanted children.
People who can't have kids and are crying about it don't realize how lucky they actually are.
A lot of women regret having children.
People who can't have kids and are crying about it don't realize how lucky they actually are. Again, with this one, this is not my story. I'm reading out an email that was sent to me by somebody else anonymously. Hi, I've always had this thought in my mind, but I knew if I said it out loud, I'll get lots of hate for it. And for this reason, please make sure you keep me anonymous. So I'm a mother of two, a son first and then a daughter, and they are 3 years apart. I'm married and I'm still with my husband. We all live together and I work part-time whilst my husband works full-time. I saw your video from yesterday on your TikTok page about regretful parents regretting having kids. And honestly, I could relate so much. I wanted to comment on that video, but I didn't want to out myself because I knew I would be emailing you this. And I hope that you'll read this out soon on your page. My son is 9 and my daughter is 6. And honestly, almost a decade of doing this, I feel like it's an absolute nightmare. Let's start from the very beginning of becoming a parent. Pregnancy. I feel like pregnancy is just a complete joke on women. Religion, society, and culture make pregnant women look like a glamorous wife. I feel like the society always presents pregnant women as one that's smiling and holding her big belly whilst wearing a beautiful dress with her hair thick and long and out, and her skin is glowing and her nails are sharp and looking lovely. I'm sure women who were pregnant before can confirm, but pregnancy is nothing like that. In fact, it's the complete opposite. Pregnancy had me wishing that I was dead. I'm a Muslim and I know Islamically that you get so much reward for being pregnant, but honestly, I can't even think of any reward that will be worthy enough to go through that shit show again. I went through it twice within 3 years of having my first. Both times was horrible for me. Both times I kept regretting my choice, and so many times I was contemplating having an abortion. And then fast forward to childbirth. Childbirth pain was the worst pain in my life. People kept telling me that I'll forget it and as soon as I see the baby, it'll be worth it. Well, I can confirm with both pregnancies, that didn't happen. Both childbirth had me wishing that I wasn't even born in the first place. I felt like I should be going back to my mother and apologizing to her for making her go through hell by bringing me into this world. And then of course, there's your partner, the man, your husband or whatever he is. He just gets to stand there and hold your hand, telling you to breathe, but nothing's happening to him, it's just you. After giving birth to my first child, I felt like I wanted to rip my husband in half just so that he can go through half of the pain that I went through whilst giving birth. I hoped and prayed that I'll forget the pain, but I never did. Come second time around, I was even more anxious because I knew exactly how much pain I was going to be in. And for both pregnancies, I ended up having a 4th degree tear, the most severe type of perineal tear, exceeding into the anal canal and rectum, damaging both the external and internal sphincter muscle and the rectal lining. Without all the medical jumbo, I was basically ripped in half from front to back down there. The recovery was an absolute nightmare. I ended up being on antibiotics for both of my childbirths because I ended up with infections both times. Whilst I was healing from these tears from both pregnancies and after having an infection, I briefly experienced incontinence where I wasn't able to hold in my pee, so I had to wear adult diapers. Let's combine that with newborn sleepless nights and feeling like absolute trash postpartum, sweating through your ass even though it's the middle of winter. Fast forward to toddler stage. Yes, they sleep through the night, but I feel like they make you work for the sleep that they let you have because having toddlers is an absolute nightmare. Toddlers are basically full of energy balls and won't let you sit down or think for even a second. And during that time, I wasn't working either. Even when they grew up and started school, I started working part-time. When I needed to go to work, it wasn't like I can wake up, get ready and leave the house. No, I had to think about them first, both. Get them ready, give them breakfast, get them out the door, drop them off, and then worry about going to work myself. If you're wondering, yes, my husband does help out whenever he can, but remember, he works full-time and he's the one who's the main provider financially, so he's not actually physically there because he has to go into work physically 5 days a week. So I'm the one who's doing majority of the work because there's no other options, and that's why I work part-time. My firstborn son was an absolute nightmare to handle as a toddler. His behavior was so hard to handle. Everyone was telling me it would be easier when I have a daughter because girls are much easier to manage. They were a bunch of liars because then after 3 years when I had my daughter, she was even more of a nightmare than my son. Don't get me wrong, I love my kids to bits. I would do anything for them, but they are just so exhausting. I can't remember the last time I actually felt happy and relaxed. I feel like having children is 80% hard work and only 20% happiness. The hard work is endless. People tell me that as the kids get older, it's easier, but it's not. It just gets more complicated in different ways. Yes, I don't have any sleepless nights anymore, and yes, I don't have toddler tantrums anymore, but now I have different types of hardship. I feel like I can never focus on myself fully, even if I'm working, even if I'm getting ready for work or doing anything else that's for me. I can never enjoy it fully because they're always there calling after me. This is why nowadays, when I see women or men complaining about how they are not able to have kids, I always feel like it's an absolute joke and that they don't actually get what they're crying about. I feel like it's a blessing in disguise for them not to have kids. I know that this is a big opinion and I shouldn't be sharing it out loud and I'll get a lot of hate for it, and that's why I'm asking you to share this anonymously. I'm sure many women out there agree with me, and maybe men as well, but they just won't say it out loud because of the hate that they will get. But honestly now, whenever I come across someone who's complaining or crying over the fact that they can't actually have kids, I feel like I want to shout at them and tell them how lucky they are, and they should consider themselves lucky and thank God for the fact that they can't actually have kids. I always hear about how kids are a blessing and that we should be happy when we have them and are grateful that we are able to have them. But so far, I haven't been able to see a single blessing. Yes, they do bring a bit of happiness, but I feel like the amount of work that goes into them always overgoes the happiness that they bring. If I can go back in time, both me and my husband would probably reverse everything and not have kids. I would still be married to my husband because I love him and he's a grown adult, not a child. But I feel like we would both decide on not having any kids. If you're reading this email out, and if there's any women or men out there who can't have any kids are listening to this, consider yourself lucky and stop crying about it, because you don't realize how lucky you actually are. You don't realize how much you don't want something unless you have it and you regret it and there's no going back. Obviously, I will never give up on my kids and I will raise them and I'll take care of them. I will also never let them know how I actually feel about them, but deep down, this is how I feel. I will do everything for my kids and I'll take care of them. I know that Islamically and legally they are my obligation. I will make sure that they never feel or know exactly how I feel about them. But the responsibility is just so huge and it just simply cannot be undone. Of course, I will never actually abandon my kids, leave them anywhere or to anyone else. But at the same time, I do have a small resentment that I always carry around with me every single day for the rest of my life probably. I've already made up my mind that when my kids are grown up and have their own children, there is no way in hell I'll be offering any help with my grandkids. In fact, when my children grow up, I plan to encourage them for not having any kids and tell them how difficult it was to raise them, but only when they're an adult themselves and are planning to make a family. This way, maybe I can prevent them from making the same mistakes as I did, and also I can ensure that I won't have any grandchildren that I might be responsible for in the future. Sorry for the very long email. Thank you.
Invalid. Super hot take, but if you're a mother that regrets having children, your feelings are invalid. Obviously, this is not going to apply to rape and incest, but for every other mother out there that regrets having their children, you chose to lay down and make this child, and now you brought this child into the world and you regret having them. This is a human being that you created, that grew in your body for 9 months, and then that you brought into this world. In your regret of having them, they know that. If you ask any child that grew up with a parent that regretted them, they knew that. No matter how much they try and fake it, the child knows that you regretted having them. And that is so wrong. You are in the wrong and your feelings are invalid when it comes to you regretting having children, because you made that choice. And now you can't just traumatize another child, another human that's going to grow up and live in this world because you made a decision that you now regret making. Step up. You created this person. You need to take care of this person. You need to make them feel loved and valued. This just blows my mind and baffles me, because how many children have ended up taking their lives because their parents regretted them, when their parents literally made this choice to lay down and bring them into this world and now just regret them. Yeah, your feelings are invalid. That's it.
A lot of women regret having children. That's because they probably had them with the wrong man. So, for example, I probably would regret having kids if I had a broke baby daddy. I sure would, because I can't give my kids the best life. They're always going to be lacking and needing, and I'm always going to have to work extra super hard and hardly ever see them. And I'm just going to feel like I'm living to work to make up for my own bad mistakes and choosing a bad father. And then my kids probably aren't going to be raised in the best area and probably get into the wrong crowd and start doing bad things. And I'm just going to create another cycle of crime and poverty because I chose to lay with a good for nothing, dusty, broke man who wasn't serious. Okay. So my point is, if you don't want kids, it's because you probably didn't count on their father leaving. So when I had kids, I was married, I was financially secure, with a husband. So I wouldn't have had children unless those things were in place first, because I'm about preparation. Okay. I live by cause and effect, not I wonder what's going to happen next. Create the cause. No, become the cause of your life. Be the cause of your own life so that you can get the desired effect. That's how you're supposed to live. You don't just let stuff happen and then I wonder what's going to happen next, and then you're upset at what the results are. You have to plan your life, and if you can't plan it, do as much as you can to make sure it's the life that you want.
Seeing the subreddit for the people who regret having kids, it's eye-opening.
Okay, I want to preface this by saying I totally support child-free people. I thought I would be child-free myself until I had my first and last. I don't expect women to have children, and I totally support it, so please don't come for me over that. Let's get into it. I think the reason why parents regret having children is because, A, it's incredibly hard. Being a parent is so hard. When you decide to roll the dice, you don't know what you're going to be given. And sometimes you have a really high needs child. Sometimes you have a child who is behind, who has a speech delay, who has developmental delays. Sometimes you have a child who is too advanced, and sometimes you have to grapple with that. Sometimes, when you roll the dice, you just never know what you're going to get. And now we no longer have a village. There is no village. There is no neighbor that you can just have your kid go over and play with the kids like I had when I was growing up. There are no people that are willing to help you for free. If you want the help, you have to pay for it or beg for it in my circumstances. When I was pregnant, my mom seemed so excited, and so did my mother-in-law, who I have a great relationship with, oddly enough. But they both seemed so excited. And I really thought that that meant that I would have a village, that I would have help when I needed it. That both my husband and I, when we were just spent and we needed a day to ourselves, to be together, to, continue on our marriage in a healthy way, that we wouldn't have to beg for it. But as it turns out, you do have to beg for it. There is no village. And I mean, pair that with the fact that my closest friends are child-free, and the moment that I had a child, they abandoned me. I lost all my friends. All my friends. I didn't expect them to have a hand with my child. I didn't give them honorary roles as aunts. I didn't do any of that because I knew that children were not their thing. I didn't expect them to be all that involved in my child's life, but I did kind of hope that they would stay involved in my life, and they haven't. They've up and abandoned me completely. And so I have to beg for help from both my mother and my mother-in-law, and I've lost all connections to my world before my child. I've lost all of my friends. I've been completely abandoned. And being a parent is incredibly hard. Whether or not you want to admit that it is, it's incredibly hard. You just never know what you're going to get. And that's why so many parents regret it or struggle with it. It's because we don't have the help that we used to have unless we pay for it. And it's exhausting, and it's so much. And that is why you see this phenomenon where we're being open about it, because we have to consider.
If men really believed that being a stay-at-home parent was so easy and the best thing ever, why aren't we seeing more of them do it? Why aren't we seeing men in mass flocking to be stay-at-home dads now that women are in the workplace just as much as men are and have been able to earn their own money for quite some time? Why aren't we seeing men supporting their partners' careers and staying home? I think it's one of three reasons. One, they don't actually want to be stay-at-home dads. They don't actually want to be at home with their kids all day, taking care of their kids all day and doing chores. They'd like to be stay-at-home husbands. Yes, that is what they would like to do. But being a stay-at-home parent, no. Or their self-esteem and ego won't allow them to be a stay-at-home dad because they would feel emasculated if they did so, because of all of the conditioning and societal and cultural expectations around being a real man is earning money and providing. So if they were to stay home, they would feel purposeless, less respectable, less valuable. It would just really do a number on them. So even though they want to, they feel like they can't. Or number three, it's just a simple financial situation. They can't actually do it because it's not financially probable. Their partner wouldn't be able to support them on their income alone because in this economy, you know what I'm saying? But if it's not the last one, it's not a numbers game. Live your dream. Don't let anyone stop you.
I did. Now, before you crucify me for saying that, hear me out. Somebody had commented and said, I wonder how your daughter would feel hearing this. And I have been very open and honest and explicit with my daughter about how I feel about teen pregnancy and the fact that I should not have had her when I did. And that is a fact. I love my daughter more than anything in the world. I love both of them more than anything in the world. They are my entire world. They are everything that I live and breathe. Because I love them so dearly is why I so deeply regret having them when I had them, because I love them and they deserve to be born into a world where they were thriving, not a world where they had to suffer their way up to the top with me as I figured things out for myself. I had my daughter in the worst circumstances that you could possibly bring a child into, and I gravely regret doing that to her. I regret having her at the time that I did because I did not bring her into a world or a life or a situation where she could thrive, and she has suffered because of it. I have put her through a lot of pain and suffering as I have grown up trying to raise her. I've known nothing about raising a child. I was a child myself. I had to work my ass off to get to where I am in order to provide her the life that she deserves, but she shouldn't have had to go through that pain and suffering with me in order to get to the point where she has the life that she deserves. I was too immature to be raising them. I was too immature to be taking care of them or providing for them. I was not a provider. I was a child playing house with two babies, trying to figure it out and trying to make my way to the top. Two things can be true at the same time. I can love them very much, but I can also recognize that I shouldn't have had them when I did.
The regret of having kids is going viral right now, and although I understand both perspectives of those that are not fond of this viral trend, as well as those that are fond of, I just wanted to break it down a little bit from a perspective of a full custodial single mother that is not necessarily financially well off or born into wealth and lacking a village, and my personal opinions from what I've heard and so forth. So what I'm understanding is that the other side of the coin that is sharing their regrets of becoming parents is to alert or bring awareness to the facade of how wonderful parenting can be. So we get sold this dream of Disney-like theory of this happy family, happy functional family, the joys that our children bring us, the laughter, the love, the unconditional love that we've never experienced in our life before. And I get that. I do understand how motherhood is sold in a way that is misleading in a way. Also, specifically because once you are a mother, once you bring children into this world, you are alone. This isn't the centuries, 15, whatever. This isn't village era. This isn't, where we grow up in small villages and share our sugar and share our honey and watch each other's kids and do the farm work. This is the 21st century where it's a dog-eat-dog world and everybody's basically out on their own for themselves. Of course, we can look at it like there are people that have villages and that's incredible, but I'm talking like this isn't like we're growing up in a community and supporting each other in that regard. So understanding that and understanding the difficulties that comes with motherhood. If you haven't watched the Maid series via Netflix, I highly suggest it. It's definitely a very impactful sight to witness the realities of a single mother particularly with other outside forces that are harmful, like an abusive baby daddy, an addict baby daddy, having no village. Her mom is like off on like overly done hippie land and living in an illusion world. And she needs to figure out how to work, how to provide, how to get herself out of the situation with the baby daddy, how to keep her child safe. Her kid is her life, but you see the struggles of being a mother. So I get that. I also get why people are saying, why are we putting this online? What is the glorification of doing this? Yes, it is okay to talk about a taboo subject, but it almost appears to what I've heard from these people and what they've said is that it almost appears to them that they just want to fucking say it. Like, imagine your kid finds that out. Imagine your kid watches that video one day. Or, even hearing some of these videos to me about people's regret of being a mother, hating their kids, it strikes a chord in me because obviously these kids didn't ask to be born. Which is why I think the awareness is coming into play of why people are making these statements. Why people are discussing their personal reality of it all. But I just want to chime in and say my part. Again, as a woman with no village, and as a woman that is a single full custodial mother with no support, nor financial support, where I stand in this dilemma. I have a nearing 3-year-old daughter, and she is all of the best parts of me. And it has been the most challenging yet blissful experience I have ever experienced in my life. And I have experienced plenty of hardship and heartbreak and trauma and despair and grief. But something about the whole experience of becoming a mother is just something so profound that it's almost hard to put your finger on it. It's almost hard to get out into words. And there will be days that I am so overstimulated and so overwhelmed and so sad, longing for my old self, the old version of whoever I was, almost like it's a relationship where we glamorize the good aspects and totally dislodge all of the factual information of how unhealthy you were as that person, how, lost in a way. You didn't have anything driving you to get to where you needed to go. We fantasize and glorify the best aspects of our past self or our past life, forgetting all of the trouble that it brought. Just like we do in relationships where that person was fucking beating you, but when you break up, you long for the few good moments, and that's all you can hyper-focus on. It's just part of our coping, because we don't want to feel the pain of it all, so we just make it out to be something else. And there will be times that I think to myself, what would my life be? I'm a very ambitious woman. I want to start multiple businesses. I want to learn so many things and go to school, and I'm in a bunch of courses around business and coaching and trauma at work, and really creating this life for myself, of course with my daughter in mind, but I've always been this way. I've always been ambitious, learning trading, swing trading, things of that nature. And I'll have very limited time. Right now my daughter's in this peak where she just is super glued to me, needing me for everything, even more so as a newborn. I honestly can sit here and say that it doesn't get any easier as they get older. It gets more fun and different because they can communicate. But when I could lay her down and she'd take a nap for hours and not move unless I picked her up, that was the easiest time for me. The only hard part is like adapting. But this period right now is incredibly hard, and I do find myself wishing that she was a little older so I would have the time to do all of these things, because the pressure is on me that I need to create this future for us. But again, I've always been very goal oriented, and I always had big dreams, big aspirations. But there are moments that I wish I could speed it up. But then I think, no, it's like a battle in the mind of a mother. Like, I wish I had this time, but that there's going to be a time where you wish. And even just right now, I've been, with her stuck to my hip for the past few months as I've been taking care of my mom who has cancer. And now I'm up in my little, my neck of the woods out in Cali on a visit. And my friend has my daughter right now. and I have a moment to breathe, but all I can do is think about and miss her. It's like she consumes my brain. And that was one of the things that people would complain about too, is like all of this excess anxiety and worries that come with motherhood that make them regret being a mother, because they have no capacity in their mind to think of anything else now. Like, oh, is my kid gonna get hurt? Oh, is this, that, this, and that, this, that, and the other. But another thing that I heard that I want to challenge is that, you know, people regret being mothers because of bringing them into this world. You know, but I look at it like this. The idiots of the world, the bad people of the world, the ones that don't have logical, intellectual thinking, soulful thinking, are going to continue to repopulate. So it's really up to us to help create a better world for our youngins and create a better world for Mother Earth itself by breeding and delivering intelligent, intellectual, spiritual beings to help try to patch this mess up. And of course, it's not their job to do so, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's all of our jobs. Who's to say that's not their job? This is life. And another comment that I kept hearing on this regretful mother circus is that, you know, this world that we bring them in, they're gonna deal with heartbreak. It saddens them to think they're gonna deal with heartbreak, or that we can't protect them from everything, or traumatizing experiences. And what I think about that is like, that's being alive. Yes, if I could slaughter every human that ever tries to traumatize my kid or have her experience anything of the parameters of what I've overcome in my early childhood years and up, if I could avoid that, and I would kill for her. But I cannot live in that fear. I can't live in regret, because life happens. And that heartbreak hurts, and it sucks, and heartbreak does damage more than I think we think about. We always think about trauma and like really intense things, but heartbreak fucking shreds as well. They're all different diameters of suffering and grieving and healing. But that's life. That's part of the thrill of being alive. I would hate to shelter her from heartbreak. You know, you only feel grief when you've had something that you loved, something to lose. It is the balance of this human experience. And the point of being here on planet Earth is to experience it. You are giving them a gift. You are giving them a gift. Yes, you have to sacrifice a lot. I want to do so many things with my life, and I feel that I still can. But of course, the cards dealt to me right now, I'm not financially stable in that regard. You know, I've done well for myself, but I'm still, you know, I'm still in the mentality of lack. I'm still fearful. I'm still fearful of one shitty few months, you know, what happens? Putting myself in situations of sacrifice, not only with her, but like to try to make ends meet. But if it wasn't for her being gifted to me and me gifting her life, you know, there's other things that I probably would have continued to put on the back burner until I was ready. Whenever we find that we're ready for something, for example, real estate. I wanted to do real estate and be a realtor in Los Angeles. For 5 years, I bought 3 different real estate schools and would start them. COVID hit at one point. I was like, oh, this is the perfect time. I'm going to get it done. Never got it done. Moved to Europe to do it. I moved to Europe, had nothing going on besides me just being around my family and just like adapting culturally to the switch up, and didn't do it, even though I said I was going to do it, because I hadn't had much to do really. And it wasn't until I had her, 2 months into her being born, I sat my ass down and I did not leave the house for 3 months besides to just run errands. And I passed my real estate exam first try, because I had her as a factor of my motivation of this is time, it's time to get going. You can't keep putting it on hold. Can't keep going out partying. Can't keep going doing all these things. Do I miss sometimes having that freedom? Yes. But without evolving, without evolution, we will never advance ourselves as humanity. We have to accept that these times come and go, and we can miss them and long for them. Fuck, I miss and long for my old self too. I feel like I've aged light years after having a kid, and it is saddening. But I wouldn't say I regret being a mother. I regret the circumstance of which I stepped into motherhood, you know, in my personal situation with the baby daddy and being, you know, 3,000 miles away from home, and then even still not really having much family here because my dad's side, they're all everywhere. I don't even know where they are. I don't know too many of them. And then my mother's side, they're all in Europe. And so my mom, you know, has her mental illnesses, and my dad, you know, we just started to do some patchwork on our relationship after many, many years of not really communicating or bonding or anything. So, do I regret having my kid? I regret the situation of which I got into having my kid, but this is the thing. This is the sitcom. This is the joke. They say, you know, wait to have kids till you're ready. Bitch, you will never fucking be ready for what that kid's about to teach you and make you self-reflect and look at yourself, look at your past, look at your future, look at yourself. And it kills me to hear these parents say that they hate their kids because they did not ask to be here. And they feel that. And then you raise another generation of traumatized kids that traumatize other people, and it never ends the fucking cycle. So yeah, do I agree with the whole regretting your kids thing? Yes and no. It is good to get it out there because then you keep fucking getting these parents that have kids that hate their kids, and then they get traumatized, and you know, they're fucking it's just sad. It's just a vicious cycle. So I get why getting that awareness out, but it sickens me to know that those kids feel so unloved. But it's also a reality situation where there are some days that I'm just like, I just need to hide in a black hole for, if I just had a weekend, that'd be good. If I just had a weekend of just being Lydia and not mom, maybe I would handle certain situations better. So is motherhood easy? Fuck no. Will you ever be ready? Fuck no. You might have them young and you're broke, but at least you're more active with them, or you have them older when you have it all. Sorry, my phone died, but to wrap it up, you know, you can be financially well off and set up and have a great husband and have a kid, and you're older and you just can't relate with them much, or you can't run around as much as you would if you were younger and a little unstable maybe. There's never the right time. There is never the right time. And I even heard one of them were talking about how they have it all, you know, they're like bragging about how much they make and their home and the husband and loving, they have a crazy great village and and they still regret having kids. And I'm not here bashing on anyone, and I'm not here to say that I haven't had moments where I just thought, what would my life be like if I didn't have my daughter? I would have so much freedom. I would have more money. I would have more time to set myself up to be financially stable. Maybe I would have met the man of my dreams and I wouldn't have been tied into an abusive relationship. But to even think about the idea of like them going through challenging things, like, yeah, it's going to be hard and it's going to sadden me, but like I wouldn't want it any other way. And that's a broad statement because I know how much I looked at myself as damaged given the amount of trauma that I've experienced and overcome. But it's like, you think about it, and life is all about polar opposites, right? The yin and the yang. And to be alive is to feel all of these things. Without heartache, are you even fucking alive? Without grief, are you alive? What the fuck is joy without sadness? And also, when do you ever watch a movie where everything is golden roads and rainbows and everything else, and you're actually entertained or enjoying the film? If you can look at your life like a movie, there are just parts of the movie that are really challenging, but for whatever reason, we get something from it. We get the most out of something when shit goes down. I would not be the person I am today had I not gone through tremendous amounts of hardship and trauma. I would not have Wounds to Wealth at my business that I'm starting up and launching in my coaching career. I would not be who I am today without it. So, do I want my daughter to suffer? Absolutely not. Do I want my daughter to grow? Absolutely. Do I regret being a parent? I regret the choices I made with who I've made them with. But again, you're never going to be ready. I mean, you could have this fucking phenomenal guy that you've been dating for years. You have a kid and it just all goes down south. You never know. Is motherhood hard? Fuck yeah. Is it worth it? I think so. I think so. I think so. As long as you know what the job entails. It is a lot of sacrifice. But it is the greatest gift to hold your creation in your hands and watch it grow to be the beautiful person that they grow to be, because you're there beside them, loving them unconditionally. And I'm not gonna even admit that you have to sacrifice your whole fucking life. Fuck that shit. Yes, we have to sacrifice a lot, but I'm not settling down to be no fucking full-time mommy. Like, I am a full-time mommy, but I'm gonna continue when she's napping, when she's at playdates, when she's at the park. I'm gonna continue to work on my dreams too. They don't have to die, they just have to fucking take a little longer. God forbid. Anyone that tells you your dreams have to die when you have kids, they just don't want their dream bad enough. Because there's always time. There is always time, just in small doses. That's my 2 cents. Let me know how you feel about it all and if you relate. I love you.
As a mom of 2 small kids, let me tell you why I regret having children. Of course, I love my kids. I think they're like the best thing in the world. And the reason I regret having children is because I don't think this world deserves children. The world that we live in does not deserve children. This world is so fucked up, and I hate that I brought these human beings here to live this. I'm already here, trying to make the best of it, and it's a shit show, and I'm gonna bring more people into this. And they are the most amazing, incredible, just beings ever, and they're so pure and perfect, and the world doesn't deserve them. I mean, I get it. People want to have their families and they want to have kids and whatever, but it's just like so selfish. Like, when I talk to people who actually want kids, it's always for selfish reasons. It's always, oh, well, I want a legacy, or I want a mini-me, or like, do y'all not understand or comprehend that these are actual human beings that have needs and that are going to be their own person? So I'm talking to the younger women. Hopefully you're fucking listening, or you have some fucking guidance better than I did. This world does not deserve children. Point case, point blank.
I do not want children. I have never wanted children. So here are more reasons why I think having a child would make me hate my life. Quick disclaimer, I fully respect and support whatever you choose to do with your body. So please completely respect and support what I choose to do with mine, because what I choose to do with my body has absolutely nothing to do with you. Okay, let's go. To me, pregnancy is body horror. It is quite literally like the movie Alien to me. I hate it. It makes my skin crawl. The thought of there being a parasite-like thing growing and living inside of me that is stealing all my vitamins and nutrients, that literally my teeth can fall out. Don't even get me started on my stomach being big and you can see something like scratch. No. I hate it. I don't like it. I think pregnancy is way too romanticized, and I don't want that for me. Okay. Next, I cannot imagine having a long, stressful day at work and all I want to do is come home and do nothing. And then there's a little child that wants attention. There's a child that needs attention from me. And don't even get me started on, oh, well, if you have a good partner, sure, you can have a great partner, right? But that kid is still going to want both of their parents. That kid who hasn't seen you all day is still going to want to see you. And sometimes I just want to be by myself. I just want to read or knit or watch my show or do literally anything else than like have to like deal with another human. I don't want to do that. I would hate my life if I lost my sense of independence and my sense of spontaneity. I would hate not being able to just do a quick trip to the grocery store. I would hate not being able to just go to the movies whenever I wanted to without having to hire a babysitter. I'm sorry, I hate children in movie theaters. There are simply some places where you do not take a child until they are ready. I do not want a screaming, crying kid in the movie theater. I hate that. Why would I do that to other people? What if I want to go to the movies and I can't? There's no babysitter. What if I just want to do a quick trip to the store and now I have to pack a kid into the car? What if the kid doesn't want to go to the store? What if it's screaming and crying, but I want to go to the store? No, I cannot imagine that. I cannot imagine that. And lastly, but definitely not least, I hate the way society treats mothers. I hate the way society treats mothers. Mothers are not seen as their own people anymore. They're just seen as like birth givers, as like spawners of children. It is never, how are you? At that point, it's, how are your kids? How are you doing with your kids? No, absolutely not. You care too much about your kid, you're a helicopter mom. You don't care enough by society standards, you are a neglectful mom. No. And society does not put this much judgment on fathers. It just doesn't. I do not want that. I do not want that scrutiny. I would hate my life. Okay? I would hate my life if basically my autonomy was taken away from me and all anyone cared about was my kids. What about me? I was here first. I was here longer. These kids didn't even exist a couple years ago. Like, absolutely not. I would absolutely hate my life. So those are just more reasons. I can keep going. If you guys want even more reasons, I can do that for you. Mwah. Love you.
Now, who done made regretting having kids a trend? I'm talking about an entire side of TikTok. Like, I saw one video, you know how the little search bubble pop up? It said, I regret having my kids. I clicked it. There's an entire side of TikTok dedicated to mothers saying how they regret having their children. Y'all don't find that suspicious? Now, in real life, I feel like as somebody who doesn't have kids, I always know the people who regret having their children by the way they talk about their life after motherhood. Because I done met two types of women after having kids. It's one type of woman who is accepting of the fact that she is a mother. And so when she talks about herself, when she talks about her life, she includes her child in it. Super optimistic about the future. Just the whole nine. But the mothers who regret having their children, I could tell because the way that they talk about life after the kid is almost as if they want to go back. And then they tend to be the one who say things like, I mean, I'm not blaming it on my kids, or I'm not using my kids as an excuse. And it's like, who said it? It be unprovoked. It's like, who said that? But I'm not gonna lie, I was so flabbergasted to find out that there was an entire side of TikTok dedicated to it, because I just felt like that's some stuff that nobody will ever admit. Like, I couldn't imagine before I saw it, somebody just being like, well, this is why I regret having my kids. Especially if it doesn't have anything to do with the father. Just to say that you regret the kid, that don't make y'all feel bad?
Listen to me when I say this. Do not have kids if you don't know the possibilities of your chance, the possibility and risk of your kids having Down syndrome, autism, being on the spectrum, cerebral palsy, all the above. Do not have kids. So from time to time, I let my son come in here and play with his toys. He was way too quiet. Like, bro, this is the type of shit you gotta deal with. Water on the floor. He put the cashews and water in a blender and poured it on the plate and missed the plate. I'm tired. Every day is something. And then on top of that, me not having help from nobody, having no support system, nobody. He's with me 24/7. If you don't have no support system, if nobody's willing to get your kids and keep them a couple days so you can accomplish stuff, do stuff, get a peace of mind, even for a couple hours, don't have no kids. Every day I tell myself, like, this is just too much for me. And then I question myself. And then I just be feeling like he don't even deserve. Oh. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. I was talking to his dad and I asked him, I said, name one thing it is that you want to do. that you can't do because you have kids. And he just sat there quiet and looking at me and couldn't say nothing. He told me we'll finish the conversation when I make it home. Do y'all think we got on the phone and talked about it? Or said one word about it? No. Like, I try to give him freedom to play in the living room. We already live in a 1-bedroom. I try to, you can see how big my house is. Literally the hallway room, living room. Like, I try to give him the freedom to at least play in his bounce house and play with his toys, but I can't even do that. I can't even do that. I ain't had my eyes off of him for long. He kept running back and forth from the room to in the living room. Sometimes I really feel like God put too much on me that I can't handle it. I can't handle this. I just can't do it no more. I can't. And if he has somebody that would get him, so I can at least mentally get myself together and take care of stuff I need. He got kicked out of another daycare. He with me. He been with me for 3 weeks. I can't even work. I can't even attempt to, and if I do, he gotta be with me and be in danger. Go get on the potty if you boo-boo. Like, we've been working on stuff, potty training. He's potty trained. He's 2, he fully potty trained. But I'm going through a lot, and it just don't make it no better. I be wanting to give up everything, and it's just not fair to him at all. It's not fair to me. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know